In this video, I'll be focusing on one of the many unique subregions of California's dynamic agriculture, the Central Coast. It's a relatively easy drive from where I live in the San Joaquin Valley, about 3 hours to the west. Sitting at the eastern rim of the Monterey Bay, the Central Coast consists of the Pajaro Valley to the north, the interior area of Hollister, followed by the Salinas Valley. Even though this area is about 10% of the San Joaquin Valley's acreage, it is still one of the world's most productive agricultural regions, accounting for about $6 billion worth of crop output, but specializing in vegetables and berries. The region's diversity of crops can be contributed to essentially one thing: a cool coastal climate. This graphic depicts how the interior portions of California, like the San Joaquin Valley, get extremely warm in the summer. Yet due to its proximity to Monterey Bay, the Central Coast almost never gets too warm. As you drive deeper into the Salinas Valley, getting further away from the coastal influence, temperatures do become warmer. But almost every summer afternoon, cool Pacific air pours inland from Monterey Bay. But even though this is a much cooler region, it still has microclimates that essentially control which crops are grown. The northern portions of the Central Coast, or Pajaro Valley, specializes in strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, lettuce, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. The interior area of Hollister grow lettuce, fennel, cilantro, pepper, and tomato. Castroville, or the mouth of the Salinas Valley, is predominantly planted with artichokes and known worldwide as the artichoke capital. The Salinas area, the one with the most acreage, is where most of the lettuce is grown. Head, romaine, and leaf lettuce dominate the landscape, while spinach, celery, broccoli, and cauliflower also flourish. As you proceed further into the Salinas Valley, it does get warmer as noted earlier. As you approach Soledad, you start to see wine grapes, yet the vines are usually along the upper slopes of the valley. But broccoli, spinach, and peppers dominate the valley's basin. Finally, at the bottom of the Salinas Valley near King City and San Ardo, it's almost as warm as the San Joaquin Valley, where you might start to see wheat, but you'll still see more wine grapes, then more spinach and peppers. Since we've already covered some soil agronomic basics from earlier videos, let's associate some of those soil attributes to at least 4 sampled locations that will represent the Central Coast crop growing characteristics. Starting with CEC, the soils are quite uniform, staying in the mid-20s, loams to silt loams in most areas, except further south where sandier loams averaging CEC of 14 are deposited. As you may recall in episode 2, the soil pH distribution in the San Joaquin Valley varied almost surprisingly so, from very acidic to almost too alkaline. Here, all 4 sampling areas display soil pH averages above 7. This is by design. Growers keep their soils on the alkaline side in order to prevent clubroot, caused by a soil-borne pathogen, Plasmodophora, which is less severe in soils having a pH above 7. Maintaining soil pH between 7.2 and 7.5, combined with crop rotation, resistant varieties, and good sanitation practices, are super important for clubroot management, particularly in brassica crops such as broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, in other words, the majority of crops grown here. Episode 7 discussed soil salinity and sodicity, and the Central Coast cannot exclude itself from these issues. Here are some points of salinity EC averages up and down the coastal area. Note that 3 out of 4 locations have salinity averages above 1.3 decisiemens per meter, of which lettuce and most of the berries grown have exceeded their respective salinity thresholds and potentially have reduced yields based on these average soil salinity levels. Seawater intrusion is the major source of salinity from Castroville north, while natural sources of saltier water from geologic formation or natural groundwater minerals are the source of salinity south of this area. For intensive vegetable production, the general recommendation is to have the soil target of 20 to 25 parts per million nitrate in the upper 12 inches of soil. About half of our measured areas are above the nitrate range and the other half are below. These averages have been coming down in recent years due to a lot of discussion revolving around Ag Order 4.0, a current regulation that puts a lot of pressure on growers to use less nitrogen on their crops than in previous years. I'll dedicate a future video about Ag Order 4.0 and nitrogen issues very soon. Finally, we'll stop at phosphorus. Unlike nitrogen, which is highly mobile and readily lost through leaching, phosphorus accumulates in these soils because it has been applied repeatedly over many decades. The greatest contributor to today's high Olsen phosphorus levels, despite being a critical level of 20 to 25 parts per million for many crops, is the long history of fertilizer applications to multiple high-value crops grown year after year. Also, having an alkaline soil pH doesn't help phosphorus availability for uptake from what we learned and discussed in episode 2. Many fields produce 2 to 3 crops annually, which each crop receives phosphorus fertilizer. Since phosphorus moves very little from where it's placed, virtually all of it remains in the root zone rather than being leached away like nitrate. We'll focus on nitrogen and phosphorus details in future episodes of California Soil and Water. For now, I just wanted to introduce you to an amazing region that's super unique, beautiful, yet also has agronomic problems which growers face year after year.